Very good evening, Mr. Dhananjay. Welcome to the SuccessSAVER sprint. Actually, basically, we are trying to drive the inspiring the people, actually, the upcoming OEMs, upcoming entrepreneurs, upcoming uh, students, right, who are there in the current time, right? There are a lot of AI fear, there are a lot of things going on in the industry. So the program basically is focusing into inspiring the people from those people who are already successful in this world, right? Or who are near to success journey, whatever we talk about, right?
Yeah,
So Dhananjay, I'll tell my viewers as well. The Dhananjay is one of the industry leader, and he has a lot of great skills. And he started that thing journey, I think, 2 decades back in the cybersecurity and security and IT area, and he has trained more than 17,000 plus um, students in this area. That is one of the very inspiring thing which I feel actually. So I thought I'll welcome him. So it is better that you speak, Dhananjay. Will be I'll be very happy. So you can what's how you reach there, what all things you have faced in your life, right? It's not easy for
yeah,
anyone to achieve those kind of milestones, right? Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Deepji, and a very good evening to you. I would like to thank you for having me here on your show. It's truly an honor to be part of this conversation, especially when the goal is to inspire others, contribute to a stronger, more digital future. Yep. So I come from a teacher's family. My father is a teacher. My sisters are also teachers. So somewhere teaching has always been a part of who I am today. It's not something I choose later. It's something that has always been with me. My journey started very humbly as a field engineer working on systems, infrastructure, and ground level work. So there was no clear roadmap, no structured guidance, or it was just my curiosity. I kept on consistently working towards that. The willingness to learn was something I feel that is something that helped me reach here today. So over time, I transitioned into cybersecurity with that mindset that actually shifted this cybersecurity thought process within me. So I realized in today's digital world, everything is now being digitalized. Everything we build, every business, every systems, every innovation, I can say, depends on one thing, and that is trust. And cyber security is what I think that protects that trust. So that's the reason why I shifted myself into this particular domain. Um, now, as on today, I work as a cybersecurity consultant, but beyond that, I am a real passionate person when it comes to IT infrastructure management, cybersecurity, and building people, especially teaching and guiding students. So I had the opportunity to train thousands of students across the globe. This year, I reached to a number somewhere 17,000 plus students from
Wonderful.
158 countries.
Wonderful.
So
That's great.
it feels good if you able to see people growing into professionals, right?
Wonderful. Yeah.
So one of the most fulfilling parts of my journey, I would say. So for me, cybersecurity is not just cybersecurity. It's not just a profession, but it's responsibility. And I believe that each one of us has a role to play in building
Yeah.
not just digital economy, but to secure the digital future. So I'm
That's
really looking forward to this conversation. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's great, Dhananjay. The one thing which again touched me is you are also from teaching background and the family, right? The same way here as well. My father, mother, my uncle, auntie, their daughters and sons, all are from the teaching background as well, right? So it is one of the very, very key role which they need to play, and they have already played. Now we need to play that role. And I can
Correct.
tell you, Dhananjay, this is very, very strongly the role the teacher can play will have more power than the any film stars or a cricket player
True.
kind
True.
of they are playing that role, right? So it has
Yeah.
a great responsibility as well.
I
So
I still remember my father keeps on telling me that teaching is learning twice.
wonderful.
And
Yeah.
that's something I feel because every session I deliver, every e-learning content, every video that I create, I feel myself juggling around, researching a lot. And that's something is actually helping me build my knowledge quotient, I would say, helping me come across multiple things.
Mhm.
Now, many students of mine asking me to talk about AI. Now, me
Mhm.
also being new to this domain, but in order to deliver something, I need to read something. And that's
That's
how
right.
I'm keeping myself in pace with what transitions, transformations happening today.
Wonderful.
Sir.
Wonderful. So as I came to know that you have started very long back Cybersecurity Career Academy, right? So that was long back before joining wherever you are working currently.
Yeah.
That was amazing, and you have helped many, many students, right? It's amazing. So that's a great achievement which you have done. We just would like to hear something about the CEO brief, which has done a lot of what is that value creation for the CEOs across the globe. What is that actually? If you can just put some light so that the people can also go with those actually.
Yeah. So here, the basic question we have today is whether, because the technology is transitioning with a high pace, and if we look at the governance models or the pace with which governments or organizations are developing their frameworks, it's in my opinion it is still lagging behind. And in addition to that, while I'm worked for multiple customers in the past, the basic problem that I have seen is the lack of knowledge or lack of the ownership, because in cybersecurity we talk about due care and due diligence, right? So these are legal terminologies. So if nobody does the due care, the due
Mhm.
diligence won't happen, right? And
That's right.
security being the top down approach, in my opinion, I thought of literating senior leadership, including CEOs, and that's where I created the CEO brief series.
Wonderful. That's great. That's amazing. Actually, I have gone through the couple of episodes of that. That was amazing. Actually, I really, really appreciate the kind of efforts which you have put into that. Right.
Sure.
And there is one journey of an email also there, right?
Yeah, one of my books I have recently published, that's available on Amazon for now. Close to, I can see 30,000 plus copies have already been sold. So, being into cybersecurity and IT infrastructure technology, I have been going through the nitty gritties of email technology. Now it is the de facto standard for communicating people, right? So, my journey started with Exim, which is the very, very primitive stage of email services. I used to provide a domain and email services to my clients somewhere. When I started, it was somewhere 2003, 2004. And that's where I started providing mailboxes with 100 MB, 200 MB. And that was the time when, there were no massive data centers available. But since then, and if I look at today, there is a huge shift in the way these mail servers are working today. Now, with the advent of Exchange servers, Zimbra email solutions from open source, and now the same Exchange solution, what we call it, is 365. That is nothing but Exchange Online.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
right, so being into domain services, I used to help organizations set up their DNS records, how setting up MX records, SPF, SOA, and all the other records. And while doing that, I encountered so many attacks where customers have lost millions. And how I could secure those domains was to implement proper DNS records,
Mhm.
SPF, DKIM, DMARC records, then configuring the transport rules, having proper email policies in place like anti-spam, anti-phishing,
That's great.
anti-malware, right? So it's been a long shot for me because I used to dig my hands through all these technologies. And while I look at myself today as a consultant, I still see many professionals or even my colleagues or students who are working in the cybersecurity domain, but these basic concepts are not yet clear to them. So that's where I thought I should create some content or a book or some write up which would help people understand how the email communication actually works. And
That's
that
great.
actually made me write this particular book. So the way
Wonderful.
it has been written, of course, my dad has been of great help to me. I'm not an
Okay.
author. Uh, I'm a technical person, but
You are an author now. Don't worry. You are an author.
so, but while talking to him, I told him that I want to write a book, and he told me that while you have so much experience, why don't you write it from a perspective that an email is actually talking to the person and telling his own story, right? So that's where it's a first person talk that I have tried to develop and subsequently help people understand directly from the emails standpoint. So it goes like, hello, I'm an email, right? I carry
That's
your
right.
messages and I carry your thoughts. I carry your legal documents. And that's when the story goes ahead. And then I elaborated everything like how it sails through and emails are protected.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. That's amazing, actually. Actually, I also started one of the high value post, I think 311 days back. That is called Audit Sec Intelligence, right?
I
So,
have been going through all your articles, sir. To be
okay.
honest, I follow each and every article that you publish on LinkedIn. AI 2.0 is something that I carefully look into, and I find myself growing in terms of the AI thought process. I
AI,
feel, yeah,
yeah, sorry, just give me 1 second. The AI, actually, I'm doing a lot of things in the governance area, actually, because what I feel, everyone is focusing towards making a better AI systems, right?
yes,
Right. Right. However, the main key area, one area, which is called governance, it is lagging behind, right? How to bring that governance at a speed, so that the system, whatever are going to build or getting deployed, should be covered by those governance, right? So I'm
true.
coming up with a specific program that is not a traditional training program. However, that will be a transformation program of the people who really want to secure their AI systems. Actually, it is not that just for a sake of a certificate, I do it and I'll get it and I'll be able to do it. No, that is not that kind of things. It is a real transformation journey, basically from level 1 to level 4, right? And that is, again, I am going with a micro e-learning mode. It's not a traditional way. You utilize your whole day, but just give me your 40 odd minutes. one day. He's saying.
Just for your like specifically this AI 2.0 series,
CISO 2.0
ISO
AIH.
2.0, yes. So that's the one I think I would always recommend everybody, anybody, especially the top leadership when it comes to CISO, CTOs, and people who are actually the decision makers. And I think that would definitely make sense to them because they are the ones being at the top. The policies and everything has to be driven by people. So especially the top leadership. So but
Yeah,
I find it very useful, and it's a very tiny but very precise to
oh,
the
yeah.
point article.
That's
And
a there are 35 plus episodes are already released on that. Actually, that's one every week I publish one, and it gives you a day wise activity what you need to do. Day one you
correct,
need to do this. Day two you do this. How you need to do that? The steps are also given. And
correct,
like shadow AI, people say shadow AI, shadow AI. What should I do? All the steps are defined in that. You talk about what is that called? AI inventory is missing, right? You talk about third party risk on the AI front. That is
correct.
also one of the article, right? So that all those newsletters, whatever are published, really, really appreciated by most of the thought leaders, topmost leaders, influencer, OEMs across the globe. Actually, they go, they read it, and there are more than 9,000 plus subscriber in that newsletter, and they
Can
wait
see
for
that.
that day.
Yes,
I still remember I was a bit delayed because I was driving my car. There were messages started coming. Hey, today that newsletter has not published yet. Is it coming today?
yes.
Right. So then I really feel that yes, I'm doing something which is really, really making some positive impact in the ground as well. So that's great. So really, really, I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
trying for that. There is
No,
another.
it's too good, sir. It's so good actually, and I keep notes of it and deriving pointers from your articles. I further research using ChatGPT and Claude, whatever tools I use. Notebook LLM. I go through your article, but it's a huge, tremendous work that you have put in place. So it's an opportunity basically for everybody, and I would highly recommend everyone to, subscribe and go through your articles. So that would give them a step-by-step approach because even when it comes to delivering something on cybersecurity or IT infrastructure, I do emphasize that unless and until your basics are clear, your foundation is not clear, you won't be able to build anything on top of it.
That's
So
right. That's right.
your articles that I see are actually acting as a building block. If you look at the Eiffel Tower, 60% of the metal is within its base, right? And that is something that, in my opinion, these articles are going to do for people. And definitely, anybody who wants to get into AI governance, I think that is something they should look at and try to grasp.
Yeah, in AI
Thanks to
governance,
Dr.
right? Yeah, last week what happened was I was sitting and I have a deep work hours I have blocked in my calendar. And the agenda was everyone is talking about the organization will shrink, right? With the AI efficiency, because AI is bringing efficiencies, right? AI is bringing a lot of things. What will be the next 40 to 50% people, what they will do actually, right? So then I thought, yeah, how to protect those people? What should we do, right? I try to put my maximum efforts to identify the area where they can work, right? Then I thought, okay, I have a skills on auditing because I audited more than 200 Fortune 500 in across 35 countries actually, and the people trust me on those countries still, right? So then I thought, okay, let me try to make some micro e-learning kind of program where people will not have much first to do, but they will learn quickly and grab that quickly and can showcase their skill sets inside their organizations to be there in the organization. Because if you talk about today, you have two AI systems or models running. Do you think that one GRC person is sufficient for them? If you talk about human in the loop, I don't think it is feasible, right? Because if depends upon that AI model, right?
Yep.
So there are a lot of people will be required in the GRC space for sure in the upcoming months. Otherwise, there may be a lot of what is that called? The incident may be happening, the hallucination may be happening, the
Correct.
bad reputation of an organization may be happening, because if you start trusting every outcome of that AI without human in the loop, it's not so easy, right?
Correct.
But how to ensure? Because who will train them? Who will communicate to those organization boss? This governance is needed prior to thinking about your use case, right? How will you showcase audit logs to your regulators? You have
Correct.
already built that model. Now it's running. So if something is going wrong, how do you prove the explainability of that model, that how it is giving that decisions, right? So
Correct.
then I started thinking in that direction, and soon you will be seeing some of the programs coming in on that series actually, and that is already on pipeline in testing mode currently. Let's see how it goes, but not only for the employees, it is for everyone, the top management, medium management, any new
Yeah.
upcomers, any person who doesn't know about AI, they can also go with that, because it's awareness basically, right? It's what and how that AI will be governed. Otherwise, if AI starts creating their own decision and start improving their own decisions, then control is not in your hand.
Yes. True. True. Like
Right?
when I like we say you cannot protect what you don't see, right?
That's right.
So you need to wear a lens through which you can see, and I think this program would definitely be of great help to people, everybody, if because unless you know, or if we go by a notion of protecting a castle, first thing that you need to know is to know where the gates are. Unless you don't know the gates, you cannot protect the castle. So that's where I feel this is going to be a great training program for everybody. So waiting for that, sir. Eagerly waiting for that.
Surely, surely. And now, do you have any message for the upcoming OEMs, upcoming? Because if you talk about today's ruling stack, right? If you
Yeah.
talk about 3 years back, you were thinking that your complete organization is secure, right? Because everything was in prem or a cloud where your firewalls are in place, you are restricting those boundaries of that particular data. You talk about information wherever it was, right?
Correct.
Today, the information is itself generating that system itself, right? What decision should go ahead, and from where that information being pulled through the process of that LLM, the people are not aware about it. That what kind of firewall they need to put and what kind of structure they need to put in place, right? And
Yes.
and I am seeing a lot of opportunities in this for all the countries today, because sovereignty is again coming as a very in a great way, right? So that is also a good area to act upon for most of the entrepreneur, most of the startups, most of the people or the students who are in the final year can create those kind of projects to execute in their own areas, right? So
Yes.
amazing opportunities everywhere. That's what I look at this moment. What about you? Do you see those kind of opportunities coming?
So when it comes to AI, I'm seeing huge responsibilities because now again with the advent of AI, things are being automated. People are a little scared, but what I feel is like if I want to talk about OEMs or you know the organizations working on these tool sets or entrepreneurs, right? What I want to say is don't just build products. They would need to first build trust. And
That's right.
that is the biggest challenge today because like if I have to talk about my own experience, I used to see HDFC Bank sending SMS to using that normal messaging system. But while they transitioned to WhatsApp, I in the first place I was not able to trust whether it is a message actually coming in from HDFC, right?
That's right. That's right.
So Trust is something that is very much needed, and cybersecurity can definitely help protect that trust. So basically, what I'm trying to convey here is security shouldn't be an afterthought, because
Yeah,
as part of cybersecurity operations, we do conduct vulnerability assessment, penetration testings, and we continue to see those vulnerabilities, weaknesses within the applications, right? Leaving that application at risk. So I think it is time for people to think about building that trust, and it should not be considered as an afterthought. It should be at the foundation core of your application development program, or whatever tools, technologies, services are being developed today. Because when we look at AI, it is a two-edged sword, right? Now
that's right.
the attacks are AI based attacks.
Mhm.
So it shouldn't be something that your applications are running on legacy protocols that were exploited maybe in 2005, because hackers, even the neophytes or script kiddies, if we talk about, they are now making use of AI to attack applications, right?
That's
So
right.
before exposing infrastructure to public, I think cybersecurity has to be ingrained into the, you know the complete life cycle of any software development, or maybe a firmware development, or maybe anything that comes to embedded, or anything related to IoT or mobile devices. So security has to be the core of every development. I think that is something that every organization should look at.
Wonderful. That's great, Dhananjay. The another thing what I invented, you can say, what I practiced from last 15, 20 years, actually, that is called SAVER. SAVER, right? So that's a framework which I have created, right? That framework fits for all, actually. For all means the people who would like to grow in their life, right? So S means silence. I'll just quickly tell you what is that SAVER. S means silence. A means affirmation. Generally, what I try to tell people, hey, whenever you start your day, you just be silent for some times. That is our firewall of your brain. Don't open any notification of your phone. Don't see your phone. Keep your phone away. Be in yourself. That is the first firewall which you need to activate in the morning. That is called S. Then the affirmation. What you'd like to be, what you'd like to do, what you'd like to become, what you would like to deliver a value to your customers or whatever your target audience, right? That's the A. You need to do a solid affirmation on that A. Then the V is a visualization, right? You need to dream a lot because it's a AI. AI will give you whatever you want. Even if you want to build a big tower of 100 floors, it will try to create you for you. I'm talking about the way you visualize because we need to train our brain like we train our LLMs, right? The AI. Why don't we train our neurons in our brain, right? We also need to train that. So that is a visualization piece. SAV. And then SAV means a software and E means exercising. That's a hardware, right? Where we need to do some practice so that oxygen should flow. Because the brain should also be in that hardware which is compatible, which is again improving, right? Because we keep our brain improving. But what about the hardware? It should not be legacy, right? So that is basically a life OS which I'm talking about. Which kind of life OS we are running in this body, right? So that is E. SAVE. Then R. R is a reading and a reflecting. Everyone reads. However, the reading here we talk about you read and execute, right? So this program I have started on 1st of March in the morning, right? It's a free voluntary program where the people joins at 6:30 a.m. every morning. That's for only 40 minutes. By 7:10 we close it IST, right?
Okay.
In the morning. So there are a lot of people who are taking benefit out of it, and they have given a good feedback about it, right? So basically, I'm doing it at this moment for the cybersecurity professional because these people are so overloaded. They are so much. I'll give you the example. Suddenly, I got a call. Hey,
Information,
that
what I can say.
person.
So I think information overload is something that everybody is, going through. Even if I see myself digging my hands through various tools and technologies available in AI, I usually find myself at sea because, but programs like this, basically the SAVER program, I think I would love to join that program in a way that I can have a step-by-step approach to,
Yeah.
improvise my skills and subsequently, have that implemented for my customers.
Best part of that program is it gives you a guarantee of improving 300% focus and putting your one major life goal into track to achieve, right? If you follow it for 60 days, there is no one, you can't see back after that for sure. The people still, the people who have joined last month, they are still giving me a ping stating, hey, it's a wonderful, it's working like anything, right? So it's amazing. Wonderful. That's great. And do you have any message for the, what is that called? The startups, because there are a lot of startups are coming in India. Oh, sorry, I was forget to tell that the you are there in the Thailand. How is weather there in Thailand at this
Weather
moment?
is pretty much good, 4 or 5 degrees here and there, little warmer
Okay.
than India usually, but it's good out here now.
Uh-huh.
It's been 3 years being here in Thailand, and weather and people, the culture, everything is extremely good. You don't feel
Okay.
like you are outside India. So if you go
Oh,
out
wonderful.
in the market, you feel like some of your Indian friends are roaming around. There are Indians, many times, even Thai people, but the way they treat Indians is extremely good. And that's where it's fun, it's a continuous encouragement, at least for a person, for me, somebody who is being greeted, who's being respected, and who's being supported, right? So that's something that one needs to, uh, someone needs. So it's good here, sir. Uh, so it's been
Wonderful. That's great, man. That's amazing.
three
Any message?
years
Yeah,
being here.
good. That's great. Any message for your viewers who are here today, who are watching? Any specific message if you would like to give before we conclude, actually?
I would like to close on one point that cybersecurity shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be part of your process. Anything that um, an organization does, a startup does, create some tools and technologies, they need to be aware of what the larger picture is. Because today we can see firewalls, we can block ports, we can block URLs. But when it comes to AI, when it comes to the wider spectrum that we talk about today, tools like N8N, cloud-based deployments,
Yeah,
modern context protocol that is actually helping integrate AI with the technologies.
rolling stacks. Yeah.
So that is something, the integration layer has to be understood by everyone. And if you succeed in protecting that, ultimately the customers and ultimately everything is going to be protected. Because you can build tools using AI in minutes, but what about the resiliency? What about the service after sales? What about the
That's
code
right.
that you have captured from AI, right? Because It's not being created by humans, right? What a
That's
human is
right.
doing is simply giving the prompt that I want a code, Python code or any platform code, and it should, this is the outcome that I want to see. And AI is doing that. But ultimately, being a human, you need to verify whether the code is having some bugs. Are you actually looking into the code? Because
Hmm.
with the pace with which we are moving forward, I'm sure there is going to be a time when, because if we see the ongoing news, multiple organizations have laid off people, but at the same time,
Mhm.
we see those organizations recruiting people for the same role, right? So it has to be a holistic approach in line with humanity. You cannot simply think of establishing a data center, investing millions and billions of dollars at the cost of somebody's life.
That's right.
Because what I personally feel is technology is a consequence of human mankind, right?
That's right.
And humanity has to be the factor with what are you actually trying to achieve, keeping humans behind, right? You will have to have a thought process in mind that yes, I'm going to adopt AI, I'm going to
Mhm.
compete with other organizations, but at the same time, you need to have the thought process which revolves around a human, revolve around families, revolve around a community,
That's right.
right? So, and revolves around countries. So, larger picture, if I look at, ultimately, it is the humanity which has to be the first thought if we are, trying to move towards a transition.
Wonderful. That's great. And quick message for all the viewers. There are 5 things I'll suggest to go with because there are a lot of value into that. One is you can see my recommendation in the LinkedIn profile, right? Just go into the linkedin.com/in/ISO 27001. You'll find my profile, and there are more than 100 recommendations from more than 35 countries by 200 plus organizations. Professionals have already given there. Have a look into that. Second, AIGRC auditor, you can find out a LinkedIn group into that. AIGRC auditor training and a certification group, right? So there are around 240 plus people have already connected there to wait for that program to come. Audit GPT weekly is the third, right, where people can see that what kind of audit they need to do in their AI systems, right? Third, fourth is audit sec intel. It's amazing. That is to pinpoint the pain of the CISOs, the pain of the governance professionals, because there are so many certifications happening every year, right? Internal audit happening. So before internal audit, they go into extensive documentation. They don't need to do all that if they follow audit sec intel daily one post. Only one control you need to test each day. I'm guaranteeing you'll improve your security maturity by one within 30 days. Just have a look into that. The tricks, tips, and what action needs to be taken, all those are there. And the advisory is also there that what all, if you find some pointers, if you are not doing it, how to do it is also mentioned in that. So you can do that. And the, ultimately, the identity needs to be shifted from CISO 2.0 to CISO existing legacy to CISO 2.0. So there is a CISO 2.0 as Dhananjay said. Have a look into that. That's real value for all of you. Wonderful. So thanks, Dhananjay. This is the message from my end as well, which will go along with you, right? I'm very nice to see you here again, and would like to do that again and again if there are any specific new programs upcoming. Right? Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.